Welcome back to the Backside Poddy. This week we are joined by the founder of Styrkr, Christian Sanderson, to talk all things nutrition.
2 gin and tonics, 2 vodkas, and a scotch.
Yes?
500 watts, please.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here and a pleasure to meet you both.
Thanks for taking the time to come out and, be in Australia.
Welcome to Australia, mate.
Yeah.
It's great to have you here. We've got a nice Pommy accent on the podcast today. So the only other Pom we've had in the podcast has been Dan Bigham. So, mate, it's good to have some royalty in the house.
Nice, thank you. Well, it's my first visit to Australia, so I'm super stoked to be here.
Mate, that's. I'm not sure you should be proud of that.
Well, it's good to be on the ground. It's good to meet everyone. Good to see the community, the industry, and everything firsthand, and just be part of it all. So yeah, down in Adelaide, it's a beautiful part of the country so far. So what I've seen.
And how good's the tour village? The fact that everything leaves from, I guess, the square there and the Hilton, and everyone, all the racing kind of starts and finishes roughly around the same place, and it's just a cool vibe how it all sort of comes together. It's not like a stage race or a thing in the Tour de France where you're going to travel the whole of Tour de France. You're just sort of here in Adelaide. And
it's brilliant. It's all quite condensed, which I really like, right? So we're a 2-minute walk down the road and we're at the Expo Village. Yeah. We've got all the race starting around, even the crits, the time trials, the pro elite races. So it's all nicely in one place, especially all the pop-ups, the community, all the activations. I think every day this week there's been a community ride out from a partner of ours, if it be Peddler or Rafa. So it's
pretty cool.
All the actions condensed. Really cool. Great setup.
Now, mate, have you managed to sort of have a couple of beers whilst you're in the village, mate, or has it all been work, no play?
No, I'll probably touch on that later. But I'm actually sober. I don't drink, so
that's good.
Yeah. So I've kept it really clean, but I've been enjoying the outdoors while I've been here. Been still training. Went for a lovely run around all the parks on about 15k Monday morning.
Jeez.
Nice.
Bumped into a load of run clubs, so there's a whole different avenue there which I'm already exploring. So all good.
So you're a bit of a runner as well, are you?
I'm not built like a runner, but I enjoy it.
Yeah.
He's a big lad. He's tall.
There's there's a diverse mix of sport and activities going on here. We keep it quite. Look, we've got to be quite niche in terms of cycling and running. We can't be all things to everyone, not just yet. So we're really focusing on the cycling. Especially the performance, adventure, and endurance angles in it, which I'll sort of touch on later on. But yeah, so far so good.
Yeah, well, the run clubs and things are just going berserk in Australia. I'm sure
Huge.
it's the same everywhere else. But where we up in Brisbane, they did the park run, and geez, mate, it's a frustration trying to navigate the bike paths with all the runners. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, exactly. But no. Look, there's world-class racing here. It feels accessible as well. The fact that, as you say, it's all in one area. You can meet the riders, you can see the teams. I was in the little the pits where all the bike engineers are. I just walk around looking at all the bikes and the brand. Well, I'm a fanboy at heart, right? So
we all are.
At all of it all. But yeah, there seems to be a real sense of community and the endurance community here, and it's great that all the brands and everything's are in one place. So.
Yeah, it was pretty cool actually. We rode down Green Hill Road yesterday, and rode down with all the teams. It was so cool, and they're just weaving in and out of the traffic, not giving two cahoots of who's who.
In the zoo.
Yeah.
No, they don't care, mate.
They don't care.
They just full send.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's good. Everyone that I've met down here, I was like, you brought your bike. Everyone's got the bike with them. Everyone's out riding. I've managed to hire one yesterday, so hopefully after this I'll get out in the bacon sun and go and have a little look around town.
I think I heard a few years ago the stat that I think about 75,000 people come in from interstate and worldwide for this event. Wow. So it's just a huge event for South Australia and also just the cycling community and all the partners, etc., and the different suppliers. It's just an incredible week. So, but mate, Styrkr is incredible. It's my favourite, as you know. I'm often found smashing one of those bars on the handlebars and
I saw it here.
and enjoying a bar. But mate, take us back. I mean, you guys have kind of come into the market relatively recently in Australia, at least.
Yeah.
Tell us about your history. Tell us more about Styrkr.
Oh, how long have we got? Because I was thinking about this yesterday, and it's quite a long story. So I was brought up racing BMX bikes, so I've had cycling in my blood from a very young age. Well, in fact, when I was 3 years old, my dad accidentally I'm one of 4 brothers or 4 boys, and my 2 older brothers and myself used to race, and I was about 3 years old when I first got on a bike. And there's a story where my dad was packing up the local BMX track. He was quite involved in the club, and then he got home, knocked on the door. My mum answered the door. My dad was like, my mum was, "Where's Christian?" And my dad had left me down at the BMX track, so I went flying back down there, and I was literally just riding down the track on my own. Yeah. So it's been in my blood for some time, and life sort of takes you in different directions, right? So I started my career in graphic design, believe it or not, right? So then I moved down to London, had the whole wild experience in London, but then that sort of turned into almost addiction. Well, essentially is a very addictive personality by nature. And then I found myself with this problem, which I had to get out of London and then start all over, and almost found myself again. So cycling was a big part of that therapy and going through that journey. And then I found myself in 2018 making this huge sort of lifestyle change. And then that led to me just getting back on the bike.
Right.
But taking one probably unhealthy addiction to a healthy addiction, which is on the bike. But that went from sort of 20K to, just doing 20, 30-hour weeks on the bike.
Yeah, right.
Going from your local club rides to sort of racing events like the PCR, which is essentially a 1,600-mile multi-day event. It takes 7.5 days to complete it, right? Wow. So the whole journey and that I was going through at the time, I was using every nutrition products on the market to find something that worked for me. And if it was the taste or the packaging or the functionality of it, I had mad sort of gut issues, all the GI distresses, everything from the flavour fatigue, bad portability and all that sort of stuff. And I have a separate company, which is our parent company, called The Simple Company, which we're a health and wellness manufacturer. So we've manufactured similar products in this space for some time.
Right.
So I went to my MPD team, who's Leon Vale, who's now my head of business operations. And I was like, I need something to help me go harder for longer, essentially, right? So that's when we initially developed the original Mix 90, which is our mixed drink, which we all love. Yep. The original Gel 30, with a few active added ingredients in there to help with performance, fatigue, etc. And the original Salt 05. We've changed that formulation a little bit. And then that was probably early 2018, right? So then I spent the next year just right into the cycling, using these products constantly. And then COVID hit, right? Which forced us, well, in the UK, we probably weren't meant to at the time, but everyone was outside trying riding their bikes. And then
we're all the same.
I was just in the zone with cycling at the time, using these products. And then after everything opened back up after the pandemic and COVID situation, everyone just wanted to be outdoors. So the events started opening again, and I was doing a huge training loop around the Surrey Plains. It was about 550K. I was getting ready for a bigger event I was hoping to take part. And I actually pedalled past a ultra distance run race called Race to the Stones. And there was thousands of runners just coming at me. I was like a salmon swimming underwater. They were giving it to me as well, like really going to town on me. And then one thing that stood out to me is the amount of nutrition they were carrying. It was all the brands that I'd tried, everything that didn't work. Yeah. And I essentially looked down in my bottle, in my hands, and I think that's when the real light bulb moment went off. I was like, I've got a product here that works for me, which I think is a unbelievable performance-led product. Great for endurance, being at the spiky end. So essentially designed for performance, but used across the board. And then, as I say, that's when the light bulb went off, and I looked down, and then I pedalled straight back to the office. I said, Leon, I've got an idea. Let's turn this into a brand. So that was probably early 2021. We spent the next 12 months just refining it. What does it actually mean? What do people want? Mm-hmm. Really doing our market research, bringing all our friends in to test the products, like getting their market feedback. And then I think the last validation for us was I raced Badlands in September 22. It was me and my ride buddy, Alex Bilson, and 8 other riders. And we all had the product. And it was a soaring heat wave at the time. People were just dropping like flies. Yeah. But I think the final validation of that is all 10 of us finished. Yeah, right. Me and Alex had a great race. It was 86 hours. I think we finished third, I think, in the pairs, right? And it was just a real adventure ride. And we finished that, and we were like, right, the product's ready for market. And then January 2023 is when we launched the brand to market.
Wow.
From there.
It's come quick.
Jeez, you've evolved very quickly.
So you're 3 years in now, essentially.
3 years in, going into our 4th year. So it's been fast. I think year one is obviously, any time you put a product on the market, that feedback's brilliant, right? So first, year one was just about getting the products into people's hands. Yes. What do the wider market think about it? Do they work? Are people having issues? And that first year, the response was just brilliant. So that was like, right, the proof's in the pudding. These products work. The feedback's been brilliant. Maybe, yes, there's always a few things you can tweak here and there. And then year 2 was when we started thinking about, right, which markets do we want to get this in? How do we start growing that brand? And then year 3 last year was probably year 3, most successful year to date. We've opened up fantastic distribution. We've brought in some amazing partners, athletes, elite level, right down to grassroots. And then, just been pushing the growth from there. So that's where we are today.
It's a hell of a story.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's incredible. And obviously Australia's a market of yours, and you've entered with Bike Bag. And tell us a bit about the Australian market. Why is it important to you, and what do you notice about the Australian athletes compared to others in the world?
Number one, it makes it a little bit easy. English-speaking country, sorry, right? So in terms of when you're going into multiple different countries, you've got to change the language, the SKUs, all that sort of stuff. But as what I've seen today, and what I've known through knowing people like Ryan, who's here with us today, is that, look, people are serious about endurance sports out here, and especially what I've seen today. Look, people love training hard, and they know there's stuff out in Australia. So it's not a test market for us. It's something that we launched into Australia last season, so this is our second season. And it's now clear that it's one of our 4 key global markets. So I'm very excited to expand here. We've got a great partner in Bikebug and push it on the online side. Yeah. So it's just about, I think it's up to us now to start building it's brand visibility now. That's what we need to start working on. But in all, Australia's been a fantastic market. Everyone seems very, very serious about endurance culture out here.
Well, I remember when Sean was there as well. We went to Bike Bug the first time, and Elliot took us for a bit of a tour around their facilities. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's this huge warehouse, and in one of the corners they had this kind of like almost like a shipping container, which is air conditioned, and it's just full of the bars. Like I'm talking like hundreds of thousands of them,
fully climate controlled.
It was incredible.
They were like, this is the bee's knees,
and that was our introduction to Styrkr.
Yeah, brilliant. I've not had the chance to get up there yet, so hopefully on my next visit,
it blew us away. It blew us away. But then that led me to the question: what is Styrkr, and what is the name? Like, what does it all mean?
Good question. So Styrkr, the name itself is an Old Norse word for strength. So we've always said part of our tagline is that we give our athletes the strength to go further.
Gotcha.
But when we were looking at brand names, just this idea came into me. Because my dad looked at our family tree years and years ago, and he'd had sort of Norwegian roots and all that sort of stuff. So I wanted something that was quite close to the heart, and then something that had that double meaning, so we could play on the taglines and stuff. So that's where Styrkr was born. And one of our key taglines is that we give our athletes the strength to go further. So there's a double meaning there.
That makes sense now.
I love it. It's a brand name that stands out too. Hey?
Yeah, that's just a cool name. Like, it's easy to say. It's and it's like you said, it's kind of like I'm on Styrkr.
Yeah. Funny, when we first launched in the USA, all the Americans were coming over going, "Hey, Styrkr, how you doing?" Right? So
people still get it confused in Australia as well. Like some people would go, "Oh, I've got a Styrkr bar."
Yeah, Styrkr.
Which I don't mind that. Then it's like people are, am I saying it right? They're instantly talking about it, right? And then when you give them a bit of a backstory and all that sort of stuff, it works quite nicely.
There you go. That makes sense. And one of the things I mentioned earlier, like one of the features that I like, Elliot showed me to open it the first time. He like banged it on the bar of the handlebars, the actual bar.
Yeah.
And it just opened with such ease. And I've gone for years, and I probably shouldn't use other names, but anyway, I was using Cliff bars and other things like that.
Yeah.
You'd be riding along and you're trying to bloody open the thing up, and you're almost falling off your bike, and it's just a real pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And then also with that, a Cliff bar, they're so hard to consume on the bike, whereas the rice bars,
mate, I'm gonna have it for dessert at home.
Yeah, honestly, chop it up.
Yeah,
just put over some ice cream.
I'll take full credit for that one. No, it's I guess it's rider-based problems, right? You can't open a bar when you're going at pace with two hands, right? Or even when you just casually ride, and trying to open it with two hands becomes quite difficult. So we wanted, especially that product, because it's one of our hero products, right? I wanted it to open with one hand, right? So we put little perforations in the top, so it's nice and easy to do with one hand.
Yep.
And then one day I just literally accidentally just hit it on the tabletop, and it just opened perfectly. Because the bar maker itself is a pufferized bar, right? So it's really easy to chew, to consume, to digest. But it's strong enough to hold up in the pocket. It doesn't disintegrate, right? So it's a really good balance of.
It's magic.
I guess the firmness of the bar, not the firmness of the bar, the way the bar holds up, and the fact that you can open it like that on your knee, on your handlebar, and then just get it straight down. It works perfectly.
And the beauty about them is there's 50 grams of carbs in them.
That was the next thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's the next thing that blew me away, Sean. Just when, like, Alex, like, man, that's 50 grams of carbs. And, like, back in the day, that was like a whole hours of nutrition.
Yeah.
In one go.
So there's a good story to this, actually. So me and my daughter were making some cakes for a kid's birthday party a couple of years ago, and we'd run out of oats, right? So we used just Rice Krispies from the cupboard. And I've always made wet rice, like the Swanniers make for the Pro League guys. So but they're good for about 12 hours or 24 hours max. You can't freeze them. And we even looked at developing a wet rice bar, but you would have to put loads of preservatives in there.
Yeah.
And then I think the shelf life studies we got back was maximum of 10 weeks, right? And we didn't want preservatives, we didn't want short date life. So we started playing around with multiple different options. And at this time, I was just in the kitchen with my daughter, and we were making some cakes for a kid's birthday party he was going to. So we threw Rice Krispies in instead. It was the original date and almond. And as soon as I took a bite, I was like, bingo, this is brilliant, right? So
Right, they're good.
Again, I went back to the office, Leon, I've cracked it. I've got the idea. We don't need to use wet rice. We'll use puff rice. And then from there, it became our number one seller, essentially. The bars are, they really do punch. But it's about usable fuel in the gut as well, right? And it goes back to what you're saying there about being able to open it with one hand. Essentially, if you can't eat it, you're not going to be able to use it, right? And the good thing with these bars, they're nice and light when you're on the bar. You can chew them, you can get them down easy. And don't get me wrong, the brand that you mentioned before, I've been a huge advocate of that. It was like one of the main bars I used for years, right? The Cliff Bar. But they can become a little bit difficult when you're trying to eat them or chew them at pace or speed, or if you're 4 to 8 hours in, then trying to chew a bar as like that becomes very difficult, very
especially
fast.
if it's hot outside, mate.
Yeah, exactly. So,
And I think that's like speaking of the high carb sort of intake, it's been a big turning curve for the pro peloton lately. Is just high carbs. Ever since COVID, we had Michael Hepburn on the other week, and he was mentioning ever since COVID, everything went through the roof, and high carbs is it. And I think Styrkr has done a fantastic job producing these products that are high carb, but also very easy to consume, easy on the gut. Like you got a 50-gram gel, which, boom, you can consume that in 5 seconds. And you're loaded for the next half hour.
Especially when you load it up with a mixed 90. There's 140 grams.
Yeah.
And you can get that down in about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It's how do you, like, what's the for an athlete? Like, is it best to consume it over over a longer period of time, as in the hour, if you're saying 150 grams of carbs an hour, or do you just go get it in the gut and let it work itself out?
Small and often. I think for me, start early and just keep it consistent, but smaller amounts, right? Because I think that's where the GI comes from, right? Because your gut can only utilize a certain amount of carbohydrates. If you go over that, that's when you're going to have issues, right?
Okay, so that is the issue.
Yeah, 100%. So you can train your gut just like you can train your legs, right? So it's about building up that slowly. So if you're going to go out and go, right, I'm going to hit 150, 200 grams. If you go straight into that, you're going to have a lot of issues, right? So it's going to be impossible. You're going to be stopping a lot, right?
Mate, that sounds like my Grafton Rural issue.
So I guess for us, it was about having fewer decisions, right? So absolutely, it's a brilliant question. So higher carbs in our products mean fewer decisions, fewer products to carry, and being consistent, right? So we sort of try to simplify the system rather than overwhelming it. And then when you look at, can you train your gut to take that amount of carbs? And yes, you can definitely do it. It's just you need to build up over time, essentially.
And what does that actually look like? Like in reality, I know it's probably different for everyone.
Yeah.
But like, what should someone actually do? You've got a big event coming up.
Yeah.
How far out should you start training yourself to be able to consume that for that event?
Look, everyone's different, right? So it depends. Look, you might only have 6 weeks to train for an event, right? So you want to literally, if you've got 6 weeks, start on day one. You want to start. You should have a relatively idea of knowing what your numbers are. If it's 30 or 60 you're trying to hit, but you've got a target of 100, right? So you want to start on your 30, bring that into your training, and then maybe step that up to 45 and 60, and just start gradually bringing that up over that 6 week period. So probably week one, don't really change anything. Just try and be consistent with the fuel that you're using. So if you're on currently 30 grams an hour, just stick to 30 grams an hour. Then week two, maybe push that up to maybe 45 or double the products or something 60, like that. Get that up to 60. And then probably a couple of weeks out, that's when you want to try just bringing in some of them target numbers that you want to hit. So if your target's 100 grams per hour, try a day with that, see how the body feels, see how it reacts, and then maybe have a rest, like a day off, go back to your normal amount, and then start pushing it from there. So it's essentially it's about consistency, and training the gut to sort of raise that maximum usable fuel level, right? Because the gut's just not going to be used to it. So it's just about bringing that up steadily, essentially.
Yeah, cool. That's great advice.
Oh, exactly. And one other product you got is the Styrkr 90 with caffeine.
Yeah.
and it's fully loaded with caffeine, that 90.
We use that as a hangover cure.
Yeah, exactly. Now, what's the secret behind caffeine usage and when should you take it?
Yeah.
All this sort of stuff.
We've got caffeine in our Mix 90 and we've got caffeine in the Gel 30. They're both 150 milligrams of caffeine, so it's a proper hit, right? So, look... It's not a magical tool. It's not just going to give you more speed, right? So again, probably test it with smaller doses, right? Caffeine's also really good for perceived pain, right? So if you're in the hole and you're a couple hours in, it just helps dampen them perceptors.
Does
right?
it really?
Yeah. So look, it's a tool, but it's not a free tool for extra speed or extra gains, right? So again, start smaller doses and use it in key moments when you're going to need it, that extra boost, right? And it also depends how much caffeine you drink through the day. Like I like caffeine.
Yeah,
I drink maybe 4 to maybe 6 cups a day, maybe even more, right? So I'm like, I buzz off the stuff. So basically, if you're going into a race, tapering your daily caffeine down can really help too.
Because you're not used to it.
Yeah. So then the body really responds to it when you have it in a training or race situation. But I guess it's a bit like carbohydrates. The point still remains it's usable caffeine within the system. So beyond that point, that there's going to be a ceiling where it's just not effective anymore. So again, start it small and often, see where it works for you. For me personally, I probably have it later on in the race, but some people have it straight on the start line and just go all out. So
so sometimes say I've had a big night before, and I hop on the bike. I'll put Mix 90 with the 150 grams in and have that on
the warm-up
on the ride out to the race.
Yeah.
And by the time I get to the race, I am charged.
If you've had a big night before, get on the electrolytes before you go to bed.
Yeah, mate.
Yes.
Get a SLT 1000 into you or a SLT plus 1000 into you before you go to bed.
Is that 2 tabs?
No. We've got 2 types of electrolytes. We've got an effervescent tablet, which comes in a 500 milligram or 1,000, but we've also got the single serve sachets, which great to carry around with you. So even if you're on a weekend somewhere or you're just down the pub with the boys, definitely get that in before you go to bed, right? And it'll just help replenish that system. It won't cure the hangover fully, especially with the amount of drink you boys probably put back. So, but it'll definitely help. So try and get one of those into the night before.
That's good. And obviously, Sean was saying before how it's just everyone's gone to 150 because I guess Tadej's probably the one sort of talking about it the most and being there. Where do you think it's going to go next? This whole industry, like you've come up with some brilliant ideas, just making cake or doing what you're doing with your daughter. What are you working on, and where do you think the industry's going to go?
I actually think it'll probably go to fewer formats, right? So there'll be less formats to use, and they'll focus on sort of high efficiency and better digestion, right? So right out there, it's good to have a mix of different sources. You don't want to just stick to one. If you just have liquid carbs in your bottle, you will fatigue pretty fast, right? So it's always best to have bars, gels, try and mix them up, helps with flavour fatigue and just helps you keep more stimulated, right? Because you don't want the same thing over and over. So I think nutritional might look a little bit more boring on paper, but when it comes to in practice, I believe it'll be a lot more effective, right? So people will be looking at, as you said, carbohydrate intake, right? That is very specific to athletes though, right? In certain specific scenarios, right? So I think as maybe an everyday cyclist, you want to just sort of test them different levels. You're not going to go out there and hit 200 grams an hour. So in terms of what we're working on, we're looking at, there's one other format that we don't currently have in the collection, and we've been working on that for probably the best part of 16 months. Wow. So we're quite unique in a way is that we're not just a marketing company. We own the end-to-end product cycle. So we develop the formulations, we manufacture everything in-house, we do all the end-to-end logistics, the QC, all the testing. So we own the full cycle. So development of product with us, right? If we don't have the capabilities of manufacturing it in-house, we've got to build the production lines, facilities, all that sort of stuff. So I think going back to your original question, I think the formats will be really focused on. And I think there's going to be a lot more personalisation, especially in the elite levels. I think people will be looking at sweat rates and what effect electrolytes has on the body. I think carbohydrates will probably be the same as well, especially in the elite field. So I think, I think fewer formats, but focusing on real effectiveness in practice, essentially.
Will you go down that route of allowing a bit more personalisation to the athlete? Some of the companies go, oh, you can choose this much sodium, you can choose this much in your mix.
Yeah. It's definitely, well, we've been working on it for some time, but it's how you can build something that's quite simple and it means something to everyone, right? Otherwise, you'll be hand tailoring every product. Yeah. So, but there's a lot of focus around, if we look at sleep recovery as well, that's like a real glowing space right now, right? And supplementation around sort of growing daily life. Creatine's having a huge resurgence as well. But that's seen as a daily product, right? So the global demand for creatine right now is through the roof, right? So it's looking at different areas like that. And as I say, for us, we've got a few sort of MPDs in the pipeline, which is definitely in the fuel, carbohydrates, sleep and recovery, essentially. And how do you optimize as an endurance athlete throughout the day, right? So electrolytes is a part of that. It could be certain active ingredients just to help the brain function, etc. So yeah, so the future is about delivering usable fuel and recovery that is probably less complex, but on a personalised.
Makes sense.
Sound more complicated than it needs to be, but yeah, trying to keep complexity down with personalisation will be key as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. And obviously, you've got a bunch of technology in your products now. One of them is the plasma technology. Yep. What is plasma technology for us playing at home?
Well, a lot of the components that we've got in our products happen in the bloodstream, right? So we've got L-arginine, L-theanine, natural nitrates, right? And a lot of these products have different effects on the body, right? It could be lowering ammonia in the blood, which lessens fatigues in the muscles, right? So we've developed all our products around that, and then just naturally, because it's to do with the plasma stream and the bloodstream, is that we just then brought this essentially technology or this branded name out and called it Plasma Tech, because that's where all the main activity happens within the body, getting oxygen to the muscles, etc. So that's where Plasma Tech came from.
And isn't there a nitro track one as well? Or?
It's my favourite gel, gel 30 nitro. So the original formulation had 450 milligrams of natural nitrates in, which is quite high, right? But it's got a very collective taste because it's derived from beetroots, right? So I absolutely loved it. And it's the only gel I've ever felt on when I'm out on my bike training that has like an instant boost impact. Like carbohydrate, it's measurable, right? If you know when you need fuel, you take the fuel on, you can go a little bit further, right? So that's... With some supplements, you don't really feel that. Like daily supplements, are they making a difference? Are they active? Are they doing anything to my body? I don't really feel that much different. It might just be something in the background. Where with gel 30 nitro, it just hit from the day dot. But it was so strong, people didn't like the flavour.
Yeah.
So we had to bring it down a little bit. I think it's 350 milligrams in there now. But if you're... Again, a product that can be used on the start line to get you going, or later down in the field when you're like really suffering, it just helps give you that extra boost. So.
Yeah, totally agree. That's one of my favourite gels too. And just last weekend, I did a crit and popped it on the start line, and I did quite well in the crit. So lo and behold,
if you haven't tried it, try it. And as I said, there's a certain taste to it, but I rate it massively.
Yeah, I was trying to. Without spending 3 hours reading through stuff, you just saved myself and probably a lot of people the difference and understanding which one to use when. Because that's one of the things we sort of touched on a little bit earlier. Was like, okay, if I'm doing a 45 or 60-minute crit, what do I need? Versus a 2 or 3 hour maybe kermesse or road race, and then something large that's just like 6 or 7 hours. Like they're kind of the three different kind of things we all do.
I think the easiest way we've always talked about carbohydrate intake is do it by the hour and about what goal you're trying to achieve or what carb level. So anything under an hour, the body, you've probably got enough fuel to see you go up to about 45 minutes, right? So the food that you eat, your breakfast, through the day, all that sort of stuff. So anything after 45 minutes is when you want to be thinking about fueling, right? So we've always said 1 to 2 hours, you want to aim for about 30 to maybe 45 an hour, just on the basic level. Anything from 2 to 3 hours, probably get up to about 60 grams of carbohydrates per hour. And then anything over 3-4 hours plus, that's where you want to be in the levels of 60 per hour. So the longer you're out there, the more the body's going to burn. So if you're out for 5 hours, then you want to be hitting that sort of maximum that you can take, that 60 to sort of 90 grams per hour. And it's the simplest way to look at it. Because I remember when I got into endurance cycling, there was, as soon as you start your cycling journey, wherever you are, right, you're suddenly looking at what's the next best thing I can get to help me give me my performance gains. People love having an arsenal of tools, bike, the computer, all that sort of stuff. And it's exactly the same with nutrition. You might not have a clue about it. And it's like trying to understand this sort of, you go on the internet and just searching, there's so much information out there. So try and keep it as simple as possible.
It is, it's overloaded.
That is like the best advice I could give everyone. Just try and understand what your carb goals are per hour, and then just try and keep it simple from there.
Yeah.
Well, this weekend, actually, we've got the Pro Velo Series kicking off in conjunction with Tour Down Under. And Styrkr has actually partnered with a Melbourne-based team called Nostromo.
Yeah.
What's excited you about that partnership, and why did you partner with them?
When we look at the race teams, we always look for teams that are doing something a little bit different, right? If it's the riders they use, or if it's the style that they're going, or if they're just a really good local community. And when we first met them, you could just tell from the day dot that they were just super, like they just loved what they do, right? So we had initial conversation with them because we knew, like, right now we've got to build these sort of communities, athletes networks, and all that sort of stuff. And SJ, who's my brand and sales manager, he just comes running up to me. I found this great team. They're really on point. They just sort of mimic our core values, all that sort of stuff. And we had an initial call with them, and they just got it right. Their style, what they're trying to do for the local scene. They've got we're all out in the pub last night, so we met them all. So just a fantastic outfit, and just super stoked to have them on board.
They do have a cool brand behind them too.
Yeah.
Like it's Larry, it stands out, and I think that's Styrkr and Nostromo perfect partnership.
Yeah.
So that's exciting,
mate. This is more of a indulging question for myself. I've never been able to understand why the gels and other products, when you're out riding, obviously the Tour de France has banned, they introduced litter zones.
Yeah.
Banned, I guess, single use in a way.
Yeah.
Where's your headspace at with making a product where the bit you rip off, maybe rather than getting spat out or whatever it might be, how do you make something biodegradable that sort of is eco-friendly in a way that you can sort of be seen as a brand that's sort of more engaged with the community in that sense?
Brilliant question. We learnt the hard way, right? So from the day dot, exactly like you don't necessarily just drop gel packets, but it can happen. Trying to get it into your back pocket, you just accidentally drop it, right? So sort of litter and the impact that can have on the environment can be huge, right? So 3 years ago when we started this, the first gels that we developed had biodegradable packaging. And we didn't have the tooling just yet, so they were just like square packets, a bit like the bar packet. So they weren't that functional, but we thought we'd found a material that was biodegradable. So if you did accidentally drop it, it would be, however many years it takes to disintegrate, it would be gone, right? So I think the first run we done was about 60,000 gels in this new packaging. We're all super stoked, ready to get it to market. And then about 3 months in, I walked into the warehouse one day and the shelves were just gel everywhere. So the material, unfortunately, wasn't stable in the liquid that we put it in, right? So it just started to disintegrate. And you can imagine this, a new brand, about 60,000
Luckily
gels.
didn't end it up.
I was like, I was
waste of
like,
money
oh my
too.
God, right? But at the same time, we tested it, right? Unfortunately, the wider commercial market there on them types of packaging and materials just isn't there yet.
No.
Right, and it's not the fact that they're more expensive. There just isn't a suitable product on the market, not that we've found, and we've got 12 years experience in doing this, that hits all them touch points. They're biodegradable, or the fact that it's household recyclable, right? So there's little things you can do, like having a little anti-litter tabs, and we did have that on the product.
Yeah.
But as I mentioned before, we manufacture everything ourselves. So when we upscale, the cost of that investment, so we had a smaller machine that had it. The new machines didn't have it. So the next phase, as part of the MPD, we're just refining the gels once again for next year. So probably around about April time, there's going to be not a completely reformulation, just a refinement of the gels. And one of the things that we're hoping to bring back is that anti-litter tab, just so you're not having to bite it off because it's the little bit.
Yeah, you're trying to put it back in your pocket.
Yeah. So we did try. We failed trying, but we're trying to find a material that will work across all the products that are biodegradable.
I'm always riding around because riding for me was training, but it's for me it's space in my own head.
Yeah,
and it gives me time to think. And often I'm thinking on the bike about various things that I enjoy, like just entrepreneurial.
Yeah,
and I was like, I've got to try and find a way to develop a way to make a biodegradable gel, because it's just like it's something that crosses my mind all the time. You see it when you're racing or whatever, or even riding, and you're like, why can't someone do this?
Yeah. We looked at different formats. Can we not just have a gel that you can just eat, right? So you could eat the packaging, right? But then it's then more like a gummy, right?
Yeah,
so like, yeah, you're completely right. There's got to be a solution out there. I just don't think there is. We've looked everywhere, right? But hopefully in the near future there will be a better material out there. That
Someone's going to steal our idea, mate. Someone's going to steal our idea.
Yeah, let's get to work after this, see what we can do.
That's great. Is gummy something you're looking at as well?
It is, yeah. That's the product that we've been developing for some time. I think it's another format, isn't it? It's something that you've got if you look at our collection from the fueling perspective, we've got the drinks, we've got the gels, we've got the bars. There's certain formats there that really work, and I think the gels is one part that we're missing. It's the same on the hydration recovery side, right? We've got our recovery bars, which are a 3-to-1 carb to protein ratio, which are the bar plus. So great straight away after you get them off the bike. It's still a puffed rice, so it still tastes really good like the bar 50s. And it's great recovery product, but we don't have an out-and-out recovery drink either.
You need that.
Trying to scale that, sometimes the buying power of these, there's bigger companies out there than us that has better buying power. So trying to develop a product that's commercially viable, that works for the market, is quite difficult. So gummies are definitely on that. And then probably more of a focus into recovery, like I mentioned before, sleep recovery, onto a potential recovery drink. But yeah, gummies are definitely firmly on the cards. Keep your eyes peeled.
Well, I always carry a bag of snakes in my pocket too. Yeah. So, geez, I'll be fully...
That's my emergency.
Yeah, correct. So gummies will be my substitute for snakes soon, I'd say.
Excellent. I'll get you guys some to sample then.
Yes.
Get your feedback.
I love them. They're delicious.
Yeah.
Sorry, one last question. Obviously, we're talking about packaging before.
Yep.
All your drink mixes come currently in sachets.
Yeah.
Is there a future where it's going to be a big tub that you can kind of just self-serve yourself for those?
We're already one step ahead of you. It's already on the market.
Is it?
It's called Mix Plus. Right?
Is that in Australia yet?
Yeah, it should be. It's basically a 15 or 25 surfing tub.
Oh, yeah.
We called it Mix Plus. Anything with a plus on our product line means that it's got a little added extra ingredient in there. So Mix Plus has got a little bit more electrolytes than Mix 90 or Mix 60. It comes in 3 different flavours. I think it is blood orange, grapefruit, and lemon and lime. Or mint lemon, sorry.
Mint and lime.
Mint and lime, sorry. Yeah. Completely wrong. There's the website. So, yeah, we're already one step of that because... Why we done everything as single serves? Because I'm an endurance enthusiast. It's so you can carry it. And we've done them in the sachets. So you
Which
can
is
pack,
great.
Yeah. So you can pack loads into your frame bag or your jersey pocket. However, when you're at home, that's not so great, right? So having an alternative product that you can have in your cupboard that you can use when you're on the turbo or you're out for a 2-hour ride with your friends.
Training ride, yep.
Yeah. So we launched that into the market April last year in the UK. And then I think it landed in Australia around November, December time. So yeah, it's on the Australian market.
Just
check
launched.
it out.
And does it become more cost effective for use because you're just?
Yes, it will. Look, anything like this, like the more packaging, the more cost, right? So the overall serving size is reduced because there's less packing. I'm all caught up in the microphone. So yeah, that does bring the overall cost per serving size down. Definitely.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, so a lot more affordable in that respect.
Well, mate, I've learned a few things. You'll tied up. I'll have to get a photo of that. Mate, I've certainly learned a few things today. That was great. Sean, I'm assuming you got a fair bit out of that too, mate.
Yeah,
I think our listeners will enjoy the content and just the learnings because I think all those questions that we have are probably questions that everyone has.
Everyone has.
You just probably don't, not saying you walk around saying, mate, what's in the plasma tech?
Yeah.
As I say, start small, often, and just be consistent. It's the same with your training as it is with your nutrition.
Yeah, I really got a lot of that.
Key.
I got a lot of that because I think that's a trap that everyone falls into, and they'll go, "Oh, I've got a big event coming up. I'm just going to buy some stuff."
Yeah.
And they go, I'm going to get 150 grams an hour, and I'm like, I lay them all out in like hour lots.
Yeah.
And then you go, yep, put them all in your back, and then you start smashing through it, and you're like, I'm not sure about this.
Yeah. Just don't overdo it. Like I say, it's a usable fuel. So train your gut to be able to use more, and then that's when you can start pushing the numbers and then pushing the performance games, essentially.
Sometimes I'm not sure we should put all this stuff on the podcast, mate, because we're giving away secrets.
I know. I was thinking that before. But anyway.
It's out there now.
Well, I'll be consuming some Styrkr over the next few days.
We sure will.
Here in Adelaide, so I'm sure we'll see you around.
Mate, thanks so much for being part of the podcast. It was great.
My pleasure. Thanks for having us on here. Great to meet you both. Great to be in Adelaide. And let's go ride our bikes.
Let's go. See you, mate.
Yes.
500 watts, please.